Welcome everybody to another Tuesday. I know we've had a couple of weeks off, but we were down in the promised land of Mexico. So there's a lot. Actually, I would have liked to been there when it was a lot colder and miss all that. But we kind of missed some nice weather. How was your guys' weekend?
No, not too bad. Enjoyed the weather, but I was stuck working most of the weekend, so that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been crazy unseasonably warm here in Manitoba. Like, I've not even used a shack. Like, I had Dexter out on the ice this weekend and just setting up tip-ups and sitting outside. It's coming though. We're going to get muddled coming weekend. I think it's back to -30, so it was good to have it while we had it.
Yeah, I'm heading out fishing this week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Supposed to be 7 degrees, 0 degrees, and -23.
Yeah.
Well,
Starting
I'm looking
Saturday.
forward to that.
Yeah, just come back in the -23.
Yeah.
Truck's a lot warmer.
Yeah, roger that.
Yeah, I guess 2 Sundays ago we lost a great guy, a great angler, Matt. Some of you might know him, some of you don't, but a real tragic loss. Yeah, great all around guy. I've known him for a while. We fished a lot together, and just a big loss. The guy had the biggest heart. Like, he'd call you up and talk fishing. You'd talk forever. Big fish all the time. And I know there's a GoFundMe page for him that you can check out. And if you can help, that'd be greatly appreciated with everything. It's a hard time for everybody. So anything you can do would be greatly appreciated. I know, help out the family. And I'll post a link after the show on the page if anyone can help out, or just send your best wishes and whatnot like that, because it can happen any moment, right? To anybody. Accidents like that, and it's just a tragedy, but just, yeah, live your life to the fullest while you can, because you never know what can happen.
Each and every day.
Yeah, hug your loved ones. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that quickly. I'm not going to go into it too much, but I'll get that GoFundMe page up. I think it's on my personal page, so you can check it out if you can help. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I didn't really want to touch on something like that at the beginning, but I didn't want to do it at the end either, because maybe not as many people be watching, so, and could give a hand. So I know he loves big fish. He guided a lot of big lakers and pike in Northern Saskatchewan, so he'd love this show. So this is for him. Speaking of that, big lakers, I know Scott's been on them like crazy.
It's been all right.
Been all right.
It's been. I just get back from the lodge last week. The week there, we had some guys. I run a little kind of trip for the guys for like southern Manitoba, which is now starting to grow a little bit. So we did a little fishing weekend with a trophy, and went out, and the fishing was good. I mean, we were 3 days guiding lakers on the ice. We saw big marks come through. First and second day, we were marking bait fish, catching smaller trout, and just that gamble. Like, do you want to stay on that structure and go and try and find big fish, or do we want to try and get the one we've been marking? And third day's a charm. Often is. You've got to put the grind in. We managed to get real nice 43 1/4 inch laker on a Cisco on a dead bait, and that's kind of what makes trips. A lot of guys come up there, they're looking for one fish, and if you're catching numbers for 2 days and then it goes quiet, but you don't want to move, if you're marking that one big one, it paid off this trip. So it's a good time for sure.
And that was on the dead stick too.
That was on a dead stick. Yeah. Yeah. And we'd seen that fish coming through, and we tried big tubes, little tubes, cranks, like, bait on bottom, and we just suspended it 90 foot of water. Suspended it at 45, just adjacent to the steep drop, and like a 52-inch hump. Yeah. And it came up and just crushed it. So
nice.
Good time.
So you had that dead stick suspended, eh?
Yeah, we had them on the bottom to start, and it was last day was to start switching some things up. And some of the guys wanted to move around the structure. The guy who caught the big fish, I just guided it. He saw that fish come through 5 or 6 times over the last couple of days, and says, "I'm not moving spots," and ground it out and got the fish that we was looking for. And again, I think that's when you're guiding, you're like, if you've got a group of people, we can work areas of structure, we can tell where these fish are maybe moving through if we're seeing bait fish. And a couple of the guys did jump spots to get on numbers, but the guy who stuck his ground ended up with a big fish, so.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to put in the time for that one.
Yeah, a couple things there too, like you're saying. Instead of just sticking with your bait directly on the bottom, I saw Justin there say he usually fishes with dead sticks. So I'll see a lot of guys will be catching fish. All of a sudden, they're not catching fish, but they don't change their presentation. It might be the fish are sitting a little higher in the water column. Maybe you had your bait suspended and you should be putting it on the bottom, or vice versa. I found the other day at Cold Lake, we were trying suspended baits. Fish were not interested in hitting them early in the day. Dropped them down to the bottom. Immediately, our dead stick started going off. But by mid-afternoon, we weren't getting any bites. We moved our dead sticks out a little bit deeper from 80 to about 120 feet, put them up 20 feet off the bottom, started getting crushed again.
Yeah, I know Saturday, the dead sticks are always pretty consistent. Some chasers in the morning, then in the afternoon, a smaller tube, like a 3-inch. was doing good, but that dead stick was on the bottom, was pretty consistent. Like I had one, got on the dead stick, and I think I didn't even get the next. After I released that one, I put on another big herring and was on the way down and got one before it even hit the bottom. So those dead sticks work.
They do indeed.
A lot of guys that just like the chasers, but.
Yeah, I think, well, if you're working one rod in the shack, why not have a dead stick out? Like it just ups your chances a little bit more. Sure, you can start video gaming them and play for numbers and get those chasers and things, but we do find, especially up there as well, a lot of the bigger ones is when you least expect it. The end of the day and the light starting to change and pop. That 13-inch Cisco is. The ones that get the big baits, when that flag pops, straight away, like, it's not a little fish that's taking it kind of thing. So why not put a big bait out, right?
Yeah. I think I've caught all my biggest lake trout through the ice on a dead stick.
We did have a couple of plus 40s caught on like 3.5, 3.25 inch little white tubes as well. And I sometimes find that like guys will come up to the lodge and they'll just want to jig like 6-inch tubes all day long, and I think they're really narrowing. They're up for a big fish, but like me personally, I've seen big fish hit the smallest little tubes and things, and to narrow it down to like wait for that one big fish seems a bit crazy to me. But everybody their own, right?
That's going back to my trip to Baker's Narrows a few years ago. I caught my biggest laker of the trip out there. I think it was 42.5 inches. Was on one of the little TC Moto tournament fuzzies. I was amazed that hook didn't bend out straight, but we managed to get her up the hole. So,
my biggest one in Northern Saskatchewan was on 4-inch. Just the power bait tube. Then you take the squid skirt and stuff the squid skirt underneath to give it that extra color, like a green and yellow, I think it was, with glow. Yeah. And man, I catch a lot of fish on that. They love that power bait tube.
Yeah.
But like what kind of structure do you guys look for when you're chasing those bigger lake trout?
Like Scott was saying, I like to find the edge of drop-offs. I see those fish usually slide up and down the drop-offs quite a bit. Obviously, big laker here in Alberta, depending on where you're fishing, is a lot different than Manitoba. But
Yeah.
That's when I'm out on Cold Lake. I'm usually looking for hopefully a gravel bottom, a little bit of a fairly steady drop-off, maybe for every 3 feet you travel, have at least 1 foot of depth change. I typically fish between 80 to 120 feet. I haven't caught any of the bigger lake trout out there any shallower than 80 feet. Typically don't mark many fish under 40 feet deep. They're all within that 40 to 120 feet, but most of the time I'm fishing 80 to 120 feet along the edge of a drop-off.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar, like looking for that good transition, like mid-lake structure. On the flats, like big humps, and like we are fishing like anywhere from 90 to 50 feet, you know, and like again looking for saddles, steep drops, like if the humps get like a slow graduated drop as well, somewhere where those fish might move up slowly. Look around those points, any inside turns where bait fish could be corralled, you know, with that kind of rock wall against it, again, that sloping rock, and sea curves. Normally you'll find the corral bait fish in there. Like, you know, and they're all over that kind of structure, I find, for sure. In the summer it's different, you know, they start going a little bit deeper and they'll do quite work the flats and things. But like when you're ice fishing them, for sure, look for that structure. Also troughs as well. Like we've got some troughs on Apapa drop down, you know, maybe like just over 100 feet against some humps, maybe say off to the side. There's a good transition, and you'll find some big ones cruising the depths right along the troughs, you know. So
wherever they can pin up some bait fish, pretty much. How long will you say you drill a hole and you put your sonar down to check what's down there? Do you guys, if there's no bait fish right away, do you guys move, or do you stick it out?
I won't move right away if there's not any bait fish, but after max 10 minutes, if I don't see any activity, I'll move along. So that was, as I was saying the other day, I drilled holes from about 55 feet out to 120. I take about, when I'm drilling my holes, I go about 10 paces, drill a hole, 10 paces, drill a hole, and I work my way up and down that drop off. The other day, I didn't mark any fish. There was no lake trout swimming less than 75 feet deep. Everything was from 80 feet out, and throughout the day, they continued to slide down that drop off.
Yeah. Scott?
Yeah, like again, if we've got guests out, we're kind of taking them to areas where we know hold big fish. We'll get them set up. Like this January was amazing because with the weather where we could like run and gun, we could move around. You know, try some guys up shallow, have some guys down deep, have some guys off transitions. And again, like get a feel for how many fish are coming through. So I would say like weather dependent, if it's nice like that, I'll jump around all day until I find them. But if we're taking guests out in minus 30, wind, like we're going to spots where we know produce fish, we're drilling holes, we're getting their shacks and that set up right away. And, you know, it's all weather dependent. Like sometimes you might have to sit and wait it out. You might have to chum a little bit, you know. But it really depends on like weather or whether your guests are willing to move, you know, what kind of experience do they have as well. If I'm out with the boys fishing, then it's the same as Adam would say. We'd spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then move on, move around until we found some activity.
Yeah, it's totally different when you got people that are paying to be with you.
Yeah.
You're not going for that personal best. You're going to get fish up.
Yeah.
The having the ability to chum in Manitoba as well, that's a huge advantage for those big fish as well. We don't get that liberty here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Save your suckers for when you jump the border.
Exactly.
With that, what kind of gear do you guys run for rods and reels and line?
This year I've actually picked up a few new 13 Fishing Omen Blacks. I've been really happy with them. I think I've kind of mentioned them before. I've got a 42-inch heavy and a 42-inch medium heavy. I usually throw the heavy on the dead stick just in case I do tie into one of those bigger fish. Right now I'm running the 2500 series Fluger Presidents on them. Just spooled up with 20 pound braid, run a 15-pound fluoro leader. And then I've got one of the 13 Fishing Widowmakers as well with one of their Kalon blackout reels on it. I've been pretty happy with that setup as well. Yeah, a lot of guys think you should be running 30, 40 pound braid on your heavier rods, but they don't consider the drag that's matched on their reels with 7 pounds of drag or 14 pounds of drag. It doesn't matter how thick your line is, you're not going to snap it anyways.
Yeah. Scott, you're giggling.
No, I'm kind of agreeing with everything Adam's saying about your setup. I like for like run and gun. We've got the Timber Big Max. So those they've changed their name. It's the big tickets. So they're like a 48, and then we've also got the Mac Attacks, which are 42 inch. So these are medium heavies. There is a medium available as well in the big ticket. They're really good rods. Like my buddy Mike Mulligan designed the rods for Alpha for Lakers. Like he put a lot of time in to make sure these. We tested them for a little bit before they went to market with them. Made a few adjustments, and they're wonderful, really good. So I'll use them same 2500 series reels as well. 20 pound braid, 20 pound fluorocarbon, or 17 pound fluoro. I like the quantum reels. So the smokes 2500 seem to work really well. I've got a couple of Shimano reels there as well. But like as long as you've got enough line. You've got enough spool case to like carry the line, because like when those fish start running, I've seen guys going up there with 1000 series reels and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, yeah, fish on enough, forget it, man, it's gone. Like,
yeah.
And I've also been using the finicky fullers this year for dead baits, because you can fight it on the rod. The hole covers are unbelievable; they are so good. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but real nice kind of poly material, black, keeps the ice off, and super easy to transport, super durable, and again gives you that option of fighting the fish on the rod as opposed to pulling the line.
Yeah. A guy with us this weekend had one. They're pretty sweet little setups.
Yeah.
And like Chris was saying, those rods you were talking about, the Timber Wilderness. Yeah, he was saying he saw them in Cabela's. I saw them in Cabela's this weekend too.
Yeah, just a couple of months ago they get launched in the Cabela's, which is super cool.
Yeah, real nice rod for sure. Adam?
Well, that was you were saying there, seeing guys coming up with like their 1000 series reels and stuff. I had a guy. Haley and I were fishing up at Cold Lake about 2 weeks ago. We were a little deeper, but this guy was fishing 80 feet, and he ripped over on his skidoo, and he's like, hey, do you have any fishing line I can buy off you? I can't get my hooks down to the bottom. If I had enough line or an extra spool, I would have given it to him. But like, you got to be prepared if you're going after these fish. It's going to be a struggle if you're not.
Yeah, sure. 100% make sure you have braid.
Yeah.
So increase your line capacity on those reels a ton.
And good jigs and things as well. Like have the hooks. Like be prepared to catch the big one. Like don't catch it and then be unprepared, because that's everybody's nightmare, right? Your gear fails, or a spool comes apart, or your walleye hook bends completely straight. Like if you're going to go up there and you want a chance of like nailing a big one, then be ready to nail a big one, because way too often you see guys equipment failing, the terminal failing on them, and it's not good.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
know.
good for them.
When I showed up at Cold Lake, I was up with Cold Lake Shanties there, and they're just setting it all up and getting it ready because they just moved it out to a different location, and he had his dead stick set up in the trailer, but he was messing around outside and stuff. When we came back in, it was damn near spooled, and by the time they got it, the spool just popped off. I don't know the whole story, but they had a broken spool on the rod and everything, and no line on it. So,
Jeez.
Who knows what happened there? But it was good fishing for the winter and moving into that slower kind of stretch here in Alberta on Cold Lake. But
yeah, I think that's the great thing about it.
I feel like the bite has actually stayed on a little bit longer this year, and I don't know if that's got to do with this nicer weather, but usually by now it's definitely tapering off more than it has.
Yeah. Scott?
It's been good here so far. Like I reckon we'll even like down south where I am right now, the fishing's been pretty steady. Like we know like February's coming and it's going to slow down, but I think that's the great thing about like lake trout fishing. You know, it's like you can target them even in the coldest of months. Like in February, the lodge last year, we nailed a lot of big fish, even like through the coldest stretches. But you know, I still want to, like, enough about lake trout. I still want to get my pike fill in before they start getting deeper, right? So it's I reckon the next couple of weeks I'll be spending a few days focusing on some big pike as well.
Yeah, I'll be going after some pike here soon. Hopefully, get a morning away or something. Because we're running out of time for those big fellas.
Well, it's the only cardio I get all year. Right? It's really sit in my boat or I sit in my shack normally, so it's like the wife's saying, "Oh yeah, you're looking a little bit slimmer. You know, come March, I've lost a couple of pounds."
Is there anything else you guys want to bring up about lake trout? Like, what do you think's the best weather conditions on different fronts? Do you like to fish a front to like moving in or coming out of one, or cloudy, sunny?
Because I find the Lakers are at least a little bit less affected by the barometric pressure versus other species being able to burp their air bladders and stuff and take care of that themselves. But I find sun conditions seem to play a huge factor on how shallow they will come up.
Yeah.
When it's a little cloudier, I'll usually find the Lakers a little bit on the shallower side. During a full moon as well, the bite can be. I know a lot of people think you can't catch fish during the full moon. I've had some awesome nights fishing for Lakers right through the full moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we crushed some big ones at moonlight. Like, for sure, I would agree with that. Yeah, and like even last week when we were up there, we had like kind of cloudier conditions, and through what Adam was saying, we were getting a lot of this fish a little bit deeper, and then you get a break in the cloud and the sun comes out, and then the shack's up on top of the reef. They were getting a lot of the action. Sorry, opposite way around. When it was cloudy, we were getting more on top, and as soon as the sun came out, we were getting more action in the column and things. So, yeah, definitely does play a huge difference. But you can't control the weather. You're out there every day. Like, you just have to adapt and make the best of it.
Yeah, they could be one thing or the other. They're worse than walleye.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Chris was saying about the braid. I know you've all had it freezing up when you're hopping holes in that cold weather, reeling up. And you guys got any tips for that, or just have a flip shack and just flip fish, go, flip fish, go?
A lot of patience. Because everything freezes up. There's nothing you can do about it. you're constantly cleaning your eyelets off, stripping the ice off your line. It's a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. If you're out there and you're having fun catching fish, it makes up for it a little bit. When you're not catching fish, it sucks. But that is definitely an issue with the braided line. So
yeah. If it's too cold, I'll just sit in the shack. I'm not gonna be hopping around. I'll just be warm.
That's I like moving around, like Chris said there. I like moving around quite a bit. I will set up a shack, kind of use it as a home base, but if it's warm enough out, or to put Haley in so she stays warm. But if it's nice enough out where it's not -40 and absolutely howling wind, I'll be outside moving around all day long. Just sit on the skidoo, rip a couple 100 yards, punch a hole, throw down the sonar, see what's going on. If there's nothing, keep moving on.
Yeah, I'm a flip over guy, so like same deal. Like if I've got guests out, get them set up, I'll take the skidoo, drill a couple of holes, flip it, spend 15 minutes, zip along, zip another hole, and just longevity. When you're out there all day and it's cold, like it can get pretty brutal by the end of the day. So I like my heat. I don't want to be I don't want to be freezing my ass off every time I go out. That's for sure.
Yeah. What do you guys run for sonar?
2D all the way. So Helix 7s are good. I've got one on my sled for mapping and nav, and then just a portable for running.
I feel that, Brody.
Broden, what a guy.
2D.
I find 2D sonar. I've had guys with live scope and things come up, especially if you're fishing those deeper depths and stuff. Like I swear by my 2D for sure.
Yeah, like Scott said, I've got my Hummingbird. I've got two Helix 7s actually. I'll use I've played around with the Panoptics and live scope a little bit. I've been pretty lucky to have a few friends that have it. I'm able to see a lot of people. Same thing they've said over that 70 to 80 foot mark. Once you get deeper than that, it isn't as effective. You start to lose detail, becomes distorted. Okay, you're fishing 25, 30 feet for walleye. Awesome. It's perfect. You can see every detail of your jig, this, that, and everything else. But when I'm out in 120 feet of water, I want to see that 1/4 inch target separation on my Helix where I know that fish is 6 inches away from my bait.
Yeah, I keep it old school with the Vexlar. I love that thing.
Yeah.
They're crisp.
I think the neat thing about the live imaging and the live scope and things, like a few of the guys had it out, especially up shallow, where you can see those fish, what direction they're coming in from.
Yeah. It's
kind of cool and see how they're behaving towards your jig. You can actually kind of get a little bit more information from it. But I think just for to be able to pinpoint and be able, like you said, be able to see that jig, be able to see everything perfectly in the deep. That's it. And I don't have $5,000 to spare on that. My wife would kill me.
Yeah. I see Broden just mentioned there that the new live scope doesn't have that problem. That's what I was actually using. A good buddy of mine just bought it, and I can assure you, over 80 feet, you can still see fish, but it's not the same. It's really, really not. And,
but is that the 34 or the 60, whatever?
Oh God,
I bet you it's a 34. We had a 34 out this weekend.
Yeah.
And in 60, it was pretty clean still.
Yeah.
But when he got out deeper,
that was I know Buddy picked it up here just a couple of weeks ago. It's the new one that came out. I'm not sure which model it is.
Probably the 34 plus.
34 plus, yeah.
So I think there's that 64 or whatever that can see ridiculous, but I don't know how far. I think it's $4,000 for the transducer or something.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep it old school for a bit.
That Chris was saying there too. He got the new Helix 7 with the ice bundle. I'm trying to remember the exact settings in there, but if you change it, change your settings from angler to custom, you get a lot more variations in your sonar, and you can actually dial it in a lot better for fishing those deeper depths.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. If you're seeing them in 30 to 60 feet, you might as well keep fishing there.
Yeah. I know some guys last weekend, not this one that passed, but the week before, they were catching some in like 28, like
Oh, really?
30 plusers on cold.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, though. There's nothing to say they can't be there. It just hasn't been my experience when I've been out there.
We had one of our guides at the lodge. We were up for Christmas with the family. Went out pike fishing at one of our pike spots, and it was just like it's a kind of weed line, and it kind of drops off 15 foot and flattens out. So she'd been setting up tip ups, and she had the rip and wrap out, and she caught a friggin' gorgeous dark coloured laker. I don't know, like 28-inch laker, fishing 15 feet in a pike spot, right? Like.
Yeah.
I think the deepest water was maybe like half a kilometre away. Like that thing was just swimming through the shallows. Like just random, right?
From I'm just curious, from the lodge, would that be northwest from the lodge across the lake?
That would be right at the Pine Route, yeah.
Yeah. So when I was up there with my buddy, the same thing happened to him actually. He was fishing for perch up there using 6-pound tests with a little beetle jig, and he ended up crushing a pretty good sized laker up there. He thought he had a massive pike on.
Yeah, I mean, I would never go targeting lakers in 15 foot of water in January. Yeah. Either later, right?
It's a cool bycatch, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know in the Yukon, like the red fins and stuff will be in that shallower water. Then you have the other deeper lake trouts that will be out. And everybody will target those red fins on their fly rods and whatnot in the summer. I know it wasn't last time I was there. The time before, me and Dad went out with a guy, and we were just fishing for grayling where this creek came in. And he caught a laker, but it was only like this big.
No way.
It was ridiculously small. But we got a laker that day, so.
That's kind of cool.
It was weird. But yeah, they're everywhere, kind of. Just depends on the lake, I think, and kind of the different lake trout.
Yeah, we did some backcountry fishing just before I started guiding. I had one of my buddies up. Day before we were guiding, and went out to a lake. It's called Lake Micanagan, and it's the same. Like you don't get the big fish there, but I think with the water quality and that, they're so dark, they're almost black and gold. Kind of almost black out fins, like, and every lake's different, right? And the way these fish look, and it's nice, you can go out and you can score those big silver ones on Affapap, or you might get a couple of orange fins, red fin ones. When you go to Micanagan, you can be guaranteed that every fish is black, just so dark.
Yeah,
real pretty.
That's awesome.
I've been waiting a long time to catch one of the super dark lake trout that some guys catch up on Cold Lake, and the one I got the other morning was just absolutely beautiful. It was almost entirely black, navy blue, purple, and just bright orange fins on it. Nice. It was so cool.
Yeah, I remember the picture, and I know Matt Weaver's been catching a bunch too. Like the one he caught was almost black, that one on his video.
Yeah.
That was just amazing color phase.
It's insane. Like when it first came up the hole, I couldn't believe how dark it actually was. I've caught a few that are relatively dark, but it was impressively dark.
Yeah. Cold Sweeks, they got the natives in there. Then they have their stock. So you got your silver ones and you got your real nice darker coloration ones. So you get that variety in there. Yeah. Is there any other tips you guys have for lake trouts, or?
I think we kind of covered the don't be afraid to use smaller baits as well. Everybody seems to want to go up and rip giant tubes up and down the water column and have a sore wrist at the end of the day. And sometimes that's not what you need.
Yeah, for sure. Should we?
Finesse goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, sucker minnows will definitely work.
Yeah, lots of people search for those right now.
Yeah.
I think Rig and Jig has some right now.
Yeah.
Bonneville has none. You guys want to roll into some pike fishing?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
pike fishing.
Yeah. So this time of year, where are you guys going to look for those big pike?
Oh,
Right now, like where I've been catching, like I was out in my local lake with Dexter the weekend, and just in a shallow bay, like just off like the main lake, set up a bunch of tip ups from 7 feet out to 15, and watch the action, like working weed lines as well. Like, well, right now I'm not finding that the pike are moving deeper or anything right now. All the fish that we've been catching have been in 7 to 15 feet of water, and it's the same up north as well. Looking for those types of areas, set up. Don't be afraid to use bigger baits. Like we use smelts, herrings. Anything like I would say 10 inches is depending on the water you're fishing as well. Because I've seen little pike hit, 12-inch baits before, but like I like to keep it 8 to 10. Maybe if I've got some larger herring that are 12, I'll put 1 or 2 out. But jigging wraps seem to be able to draw them in as well. Like kind of work your pikey areas. You know the type of structure that they're going to be hanging about in. I don't think they're definitely not went deep yet. So that's kind of where I'll revisit a lot of my pike areas that I would normally fish in the spring and in the fall.
Yeah.
And I'm still finding pike in those areas.
Yeah, and they'll probably be transitioning here fairly soon into those deeper areas, like their summer kind of spots. Adam?
I'm already starting to fish a little bit deeper for them for sure. This time of year, I'll be anywhere out to 40 feet for them. Quite a few of the lakes I fish north of here, 30 to 40 feet seems to be where they're all hanging out. And that's whether they're following around the smaller walleye, perch, or whites. Could be any of that. I will definitely throw out a dead stick as we're allowed to have the 2 lines here in Alberta, but I prefer this time of year using, like Scott was saying, the jigging wraps. The new jigging shadow wraps seem to be pretty popular with the fish as well. Just that little bit slower fall seems to be enticing them quite a bit. Medium-sized spoons. I'm not going huge yet. They seem to be just looking for a little bit smaller meal for the time being. At least that's what I found. So anything from a kind of 00 up to maybe a number 2 for a Len Thompson, something along those lines. That's kind of that. The not frostbite, but Matsua has those new. Can't think of what they're called right now. They have the bigger ones as well, and I've been using those with quite a bit of success too. So
the spoons,
yeah,
they're like a dinner bell, but
they're literally exactly a dinner bell. just half the price.
I know I haven't gone for pike this year. I usually only go once or twice. I just I don't know, not that excited that much for pike.
Have you been going for whiteys?
Thanks, bro.
Whiteys? Oh, I go for whiteys. Yeah. Well, I think I go like right when the ice starts. We do a lot of whitefish after the trout fishing. Then I've kind of been perch fishing, then lake trout. Just kind of bouncing around right now. Limited time with all the stuff that's going on, so. But I'll head out for some pike right away. Try to get a couple over 40, then that's good for the winter. I don't know what else.
I think March is like the time for for big pike. Like I know down here in southern Manitoba, like their season finishes at the end of March, and it can be really, really good. Those last 2 weeks in March are really good, and then we've got the benefit of when you go up north, their season is extended till the end of April, so we can actually fish right into the April months, and high ice up there. The pike fishing can be like just insane. Insane. Yeah.
Are you guys running kind of the same Laker setup as you're running for your pike? Pretty much
same rods, like big fish, same rods, like same gear.
Leader.
Leader. No, you change the leader, maybe, right? I like using 50-pound fluorocarbon. Like I'll up it to 50. Or if I'm using like quick strike rigs and stuff, they're normally like 80-pound. Fluoro on them. But no, I wouldn't be using 20-pound test if I'm 20-pound test fluorocarbon if I'm targeting big pike. Yeah.
How do you guys rig your dead sticks when you're using a big herring or something?
How do we rig them? Do you mean like fade down, like
one treble, or do you have it sitting a bit so it looks like it's feeding, or do you just have it flat?
No, I'm gonna keep them flat. I mean, I've experimented with different directions and things. Head down. People say that fish will come up and I'll take it, but like normally it'll be a straight double treble or a single treble with the bait sitting square.
Yeah.
That's
depending on the size of the bait.
All the same as I was kind of mentioning for lake trout. I'll play around with where I set my bait, whether I'm laying it right on the bottom or I got it up a couple feet. I've really been enjoying using a couple big single octopus hooks in the herring. Just feed them through from the tail towards the head. I haven't really found that it makes a difference for pike which way the herring is laying, if it's on the bottom or if the head's up, head's down a little bit. As long as it looks like something they want to eat, they're going to eat it. So, and I'll run the terminal gear, usually a 40 to 80 pound fluorocarbon leader, or if the fish are really fired up and I'm not worried about having them seeing my presentation, I'll throw on a titanium leader just so that I'm not having to retie all the time with the teeth cutting up the fluorocarbon.
Yeah, I'll always run a titanium leader with just one treble pretty much.
Yeah.
It's nice and easy. When you're dead sticking, how's your rod set up? Are you guys like just having open bail and just putting on the bottom, or what? When you're suspended, how are you keeping that suspended?
Well, I got a pretty good hack for that. If you want to basically make yourself an iFish Pro, all you need is a rod holder. Throw your rod holder in there, open your bail, and most reels these days have the line catch so that you can throw your. One sec here. Where is it? Oh, let's do this. You've got where you would usually run your line into the clip. Oh, fuck off. You'd run your line into the clip on here. I just go on the front side and pull it in that way. You can see on there, and it's just nice and easy. It sits on there. When a fish bites your hook, pops out, and your line spools out. Put a bell on the end of your rod, makes a quick little dingle, and your fish is free spooling line off your rod.
It's dope.
Yeah, that's pretty fancy.
Yeah,
far from fancy and a lot cheaper than an iFish Pro.
I got one for sale if you want it.
Yeah, and I'll use the finicky fillers again. I like them because they'll get a nice seat on them where you can get a big butt from a good rod will sit in it. I've tried those, HT ice riggers and things, which are good for like walleye and stuff, your kind of smaller handled rods, but like for bigger gear, if you're setting up with bigger baits, going for bigger fish, finicky filler seems to work. It's adjustable. You can adjust the weight, you can adjust the trigger point on it, pack flat, and they seem to work pretty well.
Nice. Yeah,
I do
I'll
like
do-
Adam's little hack there. That's a good one, bro.
Yeah, I'll either just use like I'll just have the bail open on a jaw jacker or something. Don't set it or anything like that. Then I'll just take a bobber and just clip the one side.
Yeah.
And just put it on the ice on the snowbank. And when the bobber's gone, there's a fish. And have a bell, because if you're in your shack or something, you can hear it start dingling away. But if you do forget everything, I've done it with bottles too. You just take the cap and just screw the line in a bit. Then that, just have it a bit on the one side. So when the bottle goes, then you start reeling, that just pulls out right away. It's a little hack too.
We're so resourceful.
Before.
I've seen a few guys using those blue tips, which is have you seen those? It's like a Bluetooth device that will go on your flag, and it's just connected to your phone. So as soon as that flag pops, you get the beep. And it's funny because you might have like 3 or 4 guys and they're all connected. So as soon as one goes off, like every tent door opens and you see guys like flashing it. Whose is it's right? But they're pretty cool as well if you're sitting in the shack and you've got a deadline outside.
They just go on your tip?
Yeah, they go on the tip of they kind of sit on the flag, and then it's just Bluetooth paired to your phone. And you can select the one or you can select all in the area. So like, hence the reason when one flag would go, you'd see like 3 or 4 guys like bouncing it because they set to all just to see if there was a big fish. So they kind of work as well. But again, you get batteries and things like that to deal with, and the chance of it failing, or you go to range or whatever. So
once it goes down the hole.
Yeah, you can.
I must have left that expensive stuff with my flip over shack. I can't afford.
I don't have one either. Orange flag. That's it.
Yeah, it's crazy how fishing gear is getting so lazy. Like live scope, you don't even gotta look anymore. You just look that way, and you're like, "Oh, there's fish 100 feet over there. I better go over there."
Well, I could easily spend $100,000 on stuff that I don't really need.
Oh yeah.
I probably have a bunch of stuff I don't. I have bags that I don't even look at. But hey, that's fishing. You're like, one day that's gonna work one day, but then it just ends up hidden in the basement somewhere in a corner. Then you find it one day, you're like, oh, that'll work one day, and then it's still in the corner 2 years later. But
that Kamuki Smartfish I bought 14 years ago at the Bolton Sportsman Show. One day it's gonna catch me a fish.
Yeah. Actually, we're on Lake Winnipeg once. Actually, it was with Matt. He was with the camera that day, and we got the fish for the day for the show. So he was fishing. Carlo Guzzi was with us, Lee Nolan, and he was off there, and he had a Kamuto, and it was his first master. He just smashed one on it.
That's awesome.
It was nuts. And I think it was like 32-inch walleye or something.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, they're pounding big walleye out there right now. Like,
oh, I know.
Before I took my Facebook break, it's because I was tired of looking at big friggin' greenbacks every time I put my Facebook on, right? Yeah, those boys are crushing out there. Like, what a fishery that is as well. Like, just insane. I'd rather travel the 7 hours north though than to go, 4 hours east for walleye.
Yeah. No, Lake Winnipeg's an awesome place. There's monster walleye in there.
And a lot of those boys are heavily set up. Like, they've got the ice castles, the trucks to get you out there. Like, if you go out with some of those guys, they ain't slumming it by any means. Like,
Yeah. You go out there, there's a lineup of like 300 trucks to get on the ice in the morning, and it just lights forever. And then everyone has tracks on their vans, their Yukons. It's pretty deadly. It's a whole different world than out here in Alberta.
That's for sure.
They're more set up. It's more fishing orientated towns and stuff. I think more like Minnesota and stuff and Manitoba. They're kind of the same vibe. They're more, all the smaller towns are just like go fishing, go fishing. Everyone's fishing all the time.
So I've got a question. I've got a question. You guys being from Alberta, if I was to come, because I fly into Calgary now and again for work, if I was to come into Calgary, fly into Calgary Airport during the winter months, what would be your guys' suggestion for where should I go ice fishing?
Well, there's a few pretty good reservoirs just east of there. You can get yourself into some big fish in a hurry.
What do you want to target is the first question, I think.
You know what? I'll target anything. Like as long as it's decent, as long as it's big. No, really, just for like to maybe target something that I couldn't get here in Manitoba. Like I don't know how, like your guy trout scene, like for bull trout and things like that. Like,
yeah.
Is there anywhere near? Like I'm not quite sure of the geography, but is there anywhere near there that would host like fish like that in the winter time? It would be possible to catch them.
Yeah, you'd have to go pretty much to Lower Kananaskis or something.
Yeah.
If you big bull trout in there, you got to put in your time.
Yeah, trout fishing, right?
Yeah, it's not close to lake trout action at all.
Yeah.
Like I fished it a couple times and I had one bite, I think, but that was before I had flasher or anything. So
that's a game changer for sure.
Couldn't survey the water.
All right. Depending on if you want to pull out the spinning rod too, right in town, you can fish for bulls and browns, whitefish, everything right through the Bow River. So that's kind of handy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, your southern reservoirs for pike and walleye.
Yeah.
Then if you want lake trout, you pretty much got to head north.
Yeah.
If you want consistent and maybe better quality. There is some out west, but it's sketchy.
Yeah, at best.
And some close. Some of them close early. So, yeah, there's only so many options we have. We don't have the lakes like you guys have.
Yeah, for sure.
We probably got like, I don't know, 20 good lakes.
Yeah,
and you find like all those good lakes are heavily pressured?
Yeah, most of them. As soon as word gets out, they're done.
No, Adam was saying something before the show about like, a lot of people have been on these lakes and a lot of people know cleaning up after themselves. Is that like because we don't have a lot of that. I don't see a lot of that, the areas that I fish, even if they're heavily populated, shack areas or whatever on a local lake. I don't find that a lot of people leave their shit behind and they'll pick it up and take it away. And Adam, you were saying that.
Yeah, I was kind of saying there. I've noticed quite a bit lately. There's been a lot of garbage left on quite a few of the lakes I've been out fishing at, and I've been cleaning up after people as best I can. But if people just cleaned up after themselves, we wouldn't have that issue. With that, though, you're saying the more heavily pressured lakes, it's definitely a lot different here in Alberta than Manitoba. We have roughly 800 fishable lakes in the province, and you can drive to about 400 of them. So when you start getting all the anglers that are in this province going to 400 lakes that they can drive to, it gets busy in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Yeah, and I think the mindset's completely different than, like I was saying, Manitoba. It's the mindset of fishing is out there. It's everybody's seems to respect it more. It's more of a way of life.
Yeah.
And then in Alberta, sometimes there's just the weekend warriors that just go out or just trying and they just haven't been educated. Like with COVID there, we had a boom and fishing license, hunting license. And I think the education is just not there yet. And like I've said before, like for a hunting license, you have to take a course. Make people do a small online course for fishing, just for identification and just how to clean a fish and just tell them what they have to know, like depths, like how much ice should be on a lake. Make sure you clean up. Don't leave stuff behind, because doesn't seem like the message is getting out.
Yeah. Well, there's a huge safety factor with that. And like you're saying, there's definitely not enough resources to educate the individuals that want to be educated. But a lot of the resources that are out there, I wouldn't be paying attention to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough go. There's a lot of people starting out and just don't know.
Yeah.
And some people just don't care. So
there's definitely that. I've truthfully, through COVID here, with everybody starting to fish more, 99% of the people are great. We are speaking about that 1% that don't care. They're not interested in being better or becoming better or caring for the environment. But that's not going to change. But as more and more people get out there, that number does get higher, and we all have to deal with that. So,
yeah. Do you guys have one super tip when targeting big fish? Like, what's your tip that's like your go-to thing if you need to pull a big fish out of your back pocket? Do you have something you lean on?
Well, one big fish can change your day, and if you're getting towards the end of the day and you're waiting for that big fish, well, I'm not going to lie. I bet you I've caught most of my big fish within the last hour of sunlight or the hour after sun goes down. So if you're leaving the lake before that time period, you're probably missing out on a lot of opportunities for big fish.
Yeah, put the time in. If you're fishing for big fish, have the right gear. Like, it's my tips. Like, be prepared for it. Like, don't go there for a big fish and not be ready for it. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. Like, guys go fish areas where we know there's big fish congregated, or people they're seeing online. There's so much pressure with online now. They can pick spots and know where guys are catching fish, and people will go out and they'll not be ready for it. Or like fish handling, like know how to, if you're going for a big fish, have somebody there who's maybe caught one before, who knows how to handle it, knows how to take care of it. Take a photograph, get a measurement, put the fish back. Don't keep big fish. There's my big tip. Don't keep big fish.
Yeah.
Be nice to them.
They taste horrible.
Right?
They're greasy. Keep the little guys. They're way more delicious.
Yeah.
They're not old and worn out. Yeah. It's all, you see it every weekend of that someone that's lost that big fish at the hole. And that's either due to tackle or mishandling right at the hole.
Yeah.
And there's always bumping it right at the hole.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling ever. So always take your time when it's coming to the hole. Make sure you got that head coming up before. Don't rush it.
Don't try and lip a pike. It will ruin your day.
Anything. Oh man, it's a heartbreaker. You just go sit in your shack and mope.
That's worse than not catching a big fish.
Yeah. So take your time around the hole. If you've had it on that long, you're probably not going to lose it. So just make sure you get that head started nicely so you can control the fish when you get it up. Get that hook out. Always make sure your pliers are close by just in case you need them. If you can, go barbless. I know I like to run barbless on all my stuff. It's not mandatory in Alberta, but it just makes it so much easier to get that hook out. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
I think that should be it. Hopefully everybody's having a good season so far. And if you're looking to get out after some big fish, you can take some things away from this and go catch that new PB.
Yeah, it's going to be cold this weekend, so get out there.
Yeah, woo!
Or call in sick this week. That's nice right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
4 days of nice weather, 4 days left, and then we're getting crippled. So get it while it's good.
Scott, where can they find you on your social?
Oh, you know what? I actually take my breakfast social, so you can't find me anywhere. You know what? If you want to find me, you know what? Scott Conley on Facebook, Daft Scotty on Instagram. Book a trip up to the lodge. I'd love to see some of you guys up there. Come catch some big fish.
Yeah. Head up to Baker's Narrow and ask for Scott. He'll put you on him. You just, if you haven't seen his pictures, it's just monster fish all the time. I don't think he catches small fish. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I do. I just give him to the kids to hold.
You give him someone else to hold for the picture? This one's much too small. Here, take this picture. Adam?
Adam Gamble Outdoors, both Facebook, Instagram. Adam's Angling Adventures, Facebook and Instagram. And that's kind of that. Got the 2 pages, and I'm sure most of you guys follow along already. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, if not, check it out.
Awesome. You guys can find me here, same as Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. It's all pretty much the same. We're here every Tuesday most of the time, unless we're on vacation. So, yeah, thanks for being on, guys. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to see what the rest of the
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, can't wait to see what the rest of your seasons produce. So probably be living through you for the next little while. So, yeah, thanks again. We'll see everybody next Tuesday. We got the ladies of the ice on, Lisa, Amber, Tasha. So it'll be a great show with some great anglers there. It's always a great time. So we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.
See you later.